I'm Terry Kaus from Northeast Healing Arts. I'm excited to share with you some tips that I've found to treat different common headaches. Dr. Terence Bennett, he was a chiropractor from the 1930s, and he correlated specific points on the head reflexes with the vascular system of the body. There's stomach points, gallbladder, liver, kidney, all these different points that you can hold these and you can release some of the emotions according to Chinese medicine that are correlated with the particular organs, and you can get a lot of relief. So if you've got a headache that's behind the eyes or right here on the forehead, it's likely a stomach headache. The emotions that go with stomach are stress, overwhelm, too much, just can't cope. When we have stressful thoughts, a lot of times we're bailing in the back of our head. Those repetitive thoughts are going around and around, and we're just really feeling stuck. So what I want you to do is rub your hands together to kind of ramp up the electricity and lightly place your hands on your frontal eminence. I'm going to have you hold those points for maybe 15 to 30 seconds as you think through what is troubling you right now. What is really causing you to feel some stress, some frustration, feeling kind of stuck? So think about those emotions while you put your like jumper cables on the frontal eminence, and it's almost like magnetically it's pulled up to the front, and then boop, you can finally let it go. If you want to add the meridian tracing with that to make this a little bit more robust, I would say touch right underneath your eyes here on your cheeks and make a big circle around. And this is the stomach meridian. It goes down the front of the body, through the legs, and it ends at the second toe. So trace that down, but then when you get down there, I want you to turn around and reverse and come back up. This is called flushing. So I want you to flush about 3 times, and then always make sure that you end that last one with flushing in the proper direction, which would be going down and out. Okay, so that's if you've got the headache behind the eyes or on the forehead. And I always think it's a great idea to rate your pain on a scale of 1 to 10 before you do any of these techniques, whether you're doing it on yourself or whether you're doing it on somebody else. So one would be I have no pain. 10 is absolutely awful. Can you give me a rating of what your pain is right now before we do the technique? And then ask the person or yourself, how is it afterwards? If you have a headache that's coming up the back of the neck and the back of the head, it's likely a kidney headache. And that can be alleviated by holding the kidney points. You can hold that point at the back of your head, which is one of the Bennett reflexes, and think through some of the emotions. If there is some fear, some dread, deep exhaustion, maybe you need to make a shift. After you hold the point for a while, you'll come up with some other ideas and you'll think, okay, yes, I'm deeply exhausted. What can I do? Maybe you need to take a nap. Maybe you need to schedule a day off. Maybe it's time to take a retreat or make some shifts. But a lot of times when we're stuck in those emotions, we really can't move forward. It's really hard to proceed and to think of creative solutions until we release that negative energy. So you hold that point, close your eyes, take some nice deep breaths, and just take your time with this. And then I would say trace the kidney meridian. It begins at the balls of the feet. It comes right through the ankle bone and up the inside of the legs, comes all the way up, and it ends right below your clavicle. Okay, so trace that at least 3 times and ending with the last one sweeping up in the right direction. If you wanted to add the frontal points and the back, because we've got anxiety in the back and fear and dread and exhaustion, and then we've got, anxiety and overwhelm. You can put both hands together, and this is super, super light, you guys, just really light, and that's called a frontal occipital hold. That can be very powerful. A really nice way to calm down your clients before they come in, or once they get into your session, and if they're kind of racy, that's just a really nice technique that you can do to bring them down. I used to use it on my kids when they were little, and if they were dreading going to school that day because they had a test, or if they were just having some troubling emotions, I would often just give them that frontal occipital hold. If you've got a headache that's on the side, it's a spleen headache. It's kind of in the temple area. The spleen neurovascular holding point is right at the mid-parietal eminences. So if you've got the pain here in the temple and the point is at the mid-parietals, I say put your hands in this direction, covering your temple and your ear. Hold those really, really lightly. And some of the emotions that come to my mind with the spleen meridian are feeling inadequate, not good enough, always striving, and maybe even some self-condemnation and shameful feelings like, I'm never measuring up. So if those are some of the emotions that resonate with you, just think through your life and your situations and how that applies to you while you hold those spleen points and when you're having that pain in the temple area. The spleen meridian begins at the big toes and it comes up the inside of the legs. It goes all the way to the armpits and then it goes back down about 5 inches. So trace that up and down, up and down, up and down, and finish with an upward sweep for spleen and for temple pain. If you've got a whole side headache, like the whole entire side of your head is throbbing or hurting, like that would maybe be related to the gallbladder meridian. Now the gallbladder meridian starts at the edge of the eyebrow and it goes down and up and down and up, and it's got this just crazy zigzaggy pattern that goes all the way down and out the 4th toes. It goes down the sides of your body. Well, I'm going to say let's keep it simple. I find it effective that if you just touch the beginning point of the gallbladder meridian and make a large swooping action through the side of your head and down the sides of your bodies, out your 4th toe, that is just absolutely fine. You don't have to figure out that pathway exactly. That will be effective as well. Some of the emotions that go with the gallbladder can be frustration, anger, inability to make decisions, inability to proceed forward, just feeling really stuck. Those can be some of the gallbladder emotions. There's a neurovascular holding point or a Bennett reflex. It's on the top of your head. I'm going to have you find it by taking the heel of your hand, place that at the bridge of your nose, and right where your middle finger lands, that's the spot. But I don't want you to treat the spot with one finger. I want you to just locate it with one finger, but then use the pads of your maybe 3 fingers to lightly hold that while you think through some of those emotions. Take some deep breaths, do the meridian tracing, and always finishing with the proper direction, okay? If you have a headache that's been lasting long, it's maybe been several hours, you've taken different things, you've tried things and nothing's really lifting that off. Maybe it's even lasted 2 or 3 days. It's likely toxicity and it's related to your liver. And so you need to flush your liver meridian up and down. I want you to hold the liver points that are on right at the hairline here. Hold those points and think about what is troubling you. What is, maybe you've eaten some things that are not good for you. Maybe you overindulged with some alcohol. Perhaps you were painting in a room that was not ventilated well and your liver just got really, really toxic. So if that's the case, just hold those points, trace the liver meridian, which starts on the big toe, comes all the way up the inside of the legs, and it ends right at your midsection below your breast. So flush that up and down, up and down, up and down, and finish with one of the upward sweeps. If you've got a headache that's coming up the back of the head and kind of just sitting heavily right on the top, this is likely a governing headache. Now, this is one of the meridians that's only, it's midline. All the other meridians are bilateral, and I want you to trace both sides of the body when you do the meridian tracing and flushing. But this one starts at the tailbone, and you can use one hand and reach up as high as you can and then grab it as close as you can, and you can touch the top of your lip. okay, because that's the end point of the governing. And then sweep back down with one hand, grab it with the other, go out your tailbone, come back up. Do that 3 times at least, ending with the upward sweep for governing. Now the governing is related to the spinal cord. Think about the spine, all those different nerve innervations that go to all the different organs. This is a very powerful meridian to work with. And I also say, it's good if you're gonna sweep up and down the governing meridian to do the central as well. The central meridian, I'm not saying that that's related to a headache specifically, but I think it can be because it ends right here at the bottom of the lip. So we've got the governing and the central. Central is about your brain, and then the governing is your spinal cord. So I would say flush your central up and down many times also, ending with the top upward sweep. Okay, so when you have a headache, that's like people have migraines sometimes. A migraine headache would probably be a minimum of 3 different meridians that have blown out and that are out of balance. You can do the techniques that I just shared with you, the neurovascular Bennett reflexes. You can do the meridian tracing. You could add acupressure holding points. These are all techniques that you learn in my specialized kinesiology workshop. And you can add, so we've got the neurovasculars, the neurolymphatic dig points to move the lymph, and we've got the acupressure holding points and the meridian tracing. Any of those, when you have these headaches that I've told you about, the different locations, you could combine any of the techniques, and I'm pretty sure that the headache is either going to disappear completely or greatly dissipate. It's good to ask the client, on that 1 to 10 before you do it, how's your pain? And then afterwards, rate the pain. And drink always with any of these, drink lots of water to help flush out the toxins and to move the energy. I'm Terry Kaus. If you want to learn more specialized kinesiology techniques to help you with stress and pain, go to northeasthealing.com. Be healthy, be well, be balanced, and be happy.